All right, y'all, welcome back to a new episode of MikeMusings. I've been thinking about what content I wanted to start this channel off with, and I think, like I said in the first episode, there's no better time to start than the present, so I'm going to just take you along with what I'm doing right now. I think right now what I'm doing is I'm going through works of literature that I feel like I read earlier in my life, either in school or on my own, but now in my current state, I feel like I need to refresh those. I need to re-sync where my understanding is today with what I was exposed to in the past. And so I feel like that's a lot. When I first react to that, I'm like, oh wow, I don't know if everything I was exposed to in school was exactly what I wanted. I don't know that I took away what I wanted to from it as a person now in my 30s. And so that's a big thing to unpack and unpeel, but we're living in the present, we move forward, and the best we can do is just move on, right? So I think part of that is eventually I'll get back to all those maybe formal education school topics, but what I'm reading right now is a book called Confessions by St. Augustine. So I read this book actually a few years ago for the first time as I was mulling over this topic, and I'm actually rereading it again now just to keep getting it into my brain. So I think this is one of those really dense books, but not overly dense where you can't make your way through it. It's dense in the sense that there's so much to unpack. There's so much richness in it, and I think the reason that it's such a lasting power in the church is for that very reason. Is there's just so much goodness baked into it. So what I'd like to do in these coming episodes is walk through each book as I'm going through it. It's a book of books, so maybe it's a book of chapters, and each chapter is called a book in the sense. So this is St. Augustine. There are two St. Augustines in the church. Augustine of Hippo and Augustine of Canterbury. So Confessions was written by Augustine of Hippo, and most are probably familiar with these paintings or pictures if you're following, at least in the Catholic sphere. And probably this is the most famous one, is here he is sitting, writing, and holding the burning heart, right? And it's pulling out of his brain and his memory. So the book Confessions is he's pulling these memories and he's confessing to the Lord, and he talks about in book one, but confession is one of the highest ways to praise the Lord, because you're acknowledging your faults and where you've sinned, and sin by definition is missing the mark. And there's beauty in that. There's not shame, there's not lasting shame in that. That's showing your love for the Creator in doing that, and we'll dive more into what that means. So yeah, this is a really rich book. I think this resonates a lot with people who are maybe more inclined to reflect back on their who feel compelled to reflect back on their life. Maybe there's stones unturned, or maybe there's something that hasn't maybe reached closure or completeness in your memories. And I think the way that Augustine did this has served as a model for those in the church for a long time. Is Augustine reflects back on his whole life, back from infancy to childhood to adulthood, and hence each chapter of the book is those stages of his life. So it's chronological the whole way throughout, and he does that. So I intended for this video to be us going through book one, but maybe this is actually an intro video to the series, an introduction to Confessions. So I will pause this here, and I will see you on the next one, where we dive into book one of Augustine's Confessions.